Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is John. I'm a filmmaker slash creator and your host for Make Limited Podcast, where we talk about how to change our circumstances when life happens. In other words, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Today, we're talking about mindset because what you think about yourself matters. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Make Limited Podcast with your host John once again. I'm super excited that you're here. Today we're talking about mindset because what you think about yourself matters. It matters. It matters a lot. And this is something that throughout time and looking at my life and the lives of others and studying people's life who have been successful and people's life who I've seen throughout the process struggle through it and really try to make it to what their goals are. I've noticed that one thing is lacking, and that is the way that they think about themselves. And not lacking in a sense of saying they're not thinking the right way, but in the sense of talking about how they think about themselves is what they're actually putting out there. And we're going to talk further about this, but before we get into the podcast, I did want to let you know two things. One, if you haven't heard about our website, it is now open. You can go to makelemonadepodcast.com and you can find us now on our own website. Okay, we have there a bunch of information that you can go and check out. Updates. You can sign up for our newsletters to know what is going on with Make Limited Podcast. And secondly, we are officially now on Amazon Music and Audible. It is super amazing that we are on these platforms because we can spread the word even more to others that need to hear it. And this is what our mission is for, so that we can spread this word that, when life brings us lemons, we can make lemonade. When life brings us a circumstance that we didn't expect, we can share that situation and share with others so that they can get motivated and they can know what to do in a circumstance that they probably didn't know or even thought about in their lives. But they went through it. Now they are in a state that they don't know what to do. This is where Make Limited comes in. We talk about it. We share information. And this is everything that you're seeing here is information that will help you in a circumstance in your life that you may have gone through. And you're wondering, what do I do next? Well, Make Limited here does that for you. We help people know, what can you do next? What are the things that we need to put in our lives? So we are on actually episode number 2. And we're in season number 2, and I'm super pumped up for what we have for you today. So with no further ado, let's go into this amazing topic that we're talking about, mindset. Okay, mindset, because what you think about yourself matters. Alright, everyone, welcome. We are on point number 1. What you think about yourself matters. Now, I'm going to talk about two things in this subject. That is going to be, number 1, what others see. Number 2, what you see. Okay, I'm going to hit those points. We're going to talk about it. It's going to be very, very crucial, very, very exciting, because it's going to elevate your life to the next level. But before we do this, let's give the definition, because you know how I enjoy giving definitions of what things mean so that we can have the right concept of what we're talking about. Mindset, according to dictionary.com, the established set of attitudes held by someone. Okay? The established set of attitudes held by someone. In other words, something that someone holds as a character, and that's what they display. Okay? So, I want you to take that mindset definition, and we're going to apply it on point number 2, what you see. But first, let's go into what others see. Okay, so let's do this. What others see. Point number one. Have you ever in your life taken a online survey to find out what personality you are? Now, if by this time you're shaking your head, or maybe you're raising your hand, or maybe you're saying, yeah, in your mind, you're like, yes, that's me. I've done it, because you wanted to know more about yourself, then you're in the right place. Because I believe everyone, in some sort or sense, wants to know a little bit about themselves. If they can learn something, they ask somebody a question, maybe they're looking at someone to really define themselves in, but they want to know about themselves. Why do they do the things that they do? Why do they act a certain way? Why do they like certain things? They want to know how to interact with others, maybe that act the same way as them do, or want to, get out of their comfort zone and want to, do things they've never done before. This is why, some of the reasons why people take this personality test. My reason was because I wanted to know more about myself. Do you get what I mean? I wanted to know more about myself because I was interested in my personality and how this survey test of questions, answering questions, would do this. And it's so crazy how once you finish taking the test, because there's several tests that you can take. There's one with like 5 questions. There's one with choosing colors. There's another one where you have like, I don't know, like 50 questions or so. And each of them tell you, like, they give you certain little things that they inform you that it's more important, or it's more targeted, or it's more like refined, or whatever it is for them to convince you to take this personality test. Now, when you're done with this personality test, what is the first thing that you get? Well, the first thing that you get is, wow, I can't believe that we're on the spot, right? So the computer, the software, did something with the questions that you gave it, and it put you in a certain category, and then it gave you results, and that was your personality. And then you start reading about all the personalities, what you do, how you act, what are the pros, what are the cons in your personality, what can you do, what type of career, and you are amazed by this, right? And you pretty much, in a sense, categorize yourself and put yourself in a place of you know what, I'm an extrovert. You know what, I'm an introvert. You know what, I am a leadership. You know what, I'm all this stuff that this test gives you, and now you start applying something to yourself because you truly believe that that's who you are. That is your personality. Because it's so close to what you know about yourself. And then there's other things that you go and seek out, or some seek out, to find more about themselves. For example, you ask a friend, what do they think about your decisions? What do they think about who you are? What do they think about what you like? What do you think about the person that you may be dating? What do you think? And you try to find some sort of approval, some sort of way of convincing, or find some results back that the person is telling you, this is what I think about you. This is what I think about your situation. Because you're learning, and you want to learn why you do the things, why that person is, okay for you. And you start hearing all these things about you. You get what I'm saying now? So you start hearing, you know what, this person is good for you because you're like this. This person is bad for you because it's going to corrupt you. This person is like this because it's going to take you somewhere else, and you're not going to be the same person. And that one person can either corrupt you, or that one person can help you, right? But again, you're asking people what they think about yourself. What they think about you, not yourself. And you start seeing these things through the point of asking. Then you start another phase, where this can be unconsciously or conscious, where you start asking people, or start seeking someone to tell you what they think about you. Now, this may be like a stranger. You may, ask when you're in conversation, try to relate to them and try to find something and you ask them questions about what they think about what you do, or what do they think about you when they first saw you, and they give you a response of what their first impression was. Same thing as a job. When you go to a job, you start thinking how people see you in that job, and they hire you according to, do you fit their atmosphere, do you fit the way they are. And if you do fit, then they'll put you in there. If you don't fit, then they'll probably wait until they find someone else, or if you're the only one, then they'll accept you and they'll see how they can work with you. The point is that other people are seeing you a certain way, and because of what they're seeing you as, there's a huge chance that you are applying that to your life. And by applying that, I mean you are thinking about yourself in that manner. They don't hire you in a job. You ask why, they say, well, you don't have enough experience. And now you're thinking of yourself like, man, well, how much experience do I need? Where do I need to get this experience? I knew I wasn't prepared enough to do this. Is all the jobs going to be the same? So now your mindset turns into an established attitude that you hold on yourself. Now you're thinking, well, I need to get experience. Now I need to do this. Now I need to do that. And now you set the whole process because you felt that because of an interview, you were not prepared for a job. And then you start believing that, and then you start acting upon it. And now you go to interviews unprepared because you believe you're unprepared. And then it's not until you get a job that you have 5 years of experience, and then you go back to the job that you wanted, and then they're like, well, we're not hiring right now. And you believe that you still don't have experience. Or they tell you, you know what, we're going to call you and we'll let you know. Or they tell you, you know what, you're overqualified. And now you're thinking like, well, what can I do? I'm not good enough. This is not right. I've done everything I'm supposed to. Why are people now neglecting me? I have my qualifications. I'm here to let you know that it's not your fault. I'm here to let you know that what other people see in you does not dictate who you are. Okay? Because other people are going to see what your circumstances have changed you into. That's what they're seeing. Okay, what does that mean? That means that you may have gone through something in your life that has in some way established an attitude, established a mindset that now you hold upon yourself consciously or unconsciously. Meaning either you know about it or you don't know about it. And you're doing it by habit. You're doing it because you turn it into something that you do as a routine every day. The hardest part about not knowing or doing something unconsciously is that you don't know what you're doing, but you're doing it. And other people are seeing it, and that's what is being pushed out of your attitude, out of your character to others. So when you step in a situation that meets the same situation that you were in, you automatically do something that you have as a habit, and you end up doing that in that place. So, say for example, we go back, since we're talking about the job and everything like that. Say for example, you go back to that job that you wanted. You have 5 years of experience. They still neglect you, and you go back into that state of neglection, and now you're thinking of yourself 10 times worse because you have the qualifications, but you're still not accepted. So now you are 10 times in a situation than you were before. We're talking about what you think about yourself matters. Sometimes in our lives we have let circumstances as the other dictate who we are, dictate what we think about ourselves. And I'm not putting a easy mark on this, because believe me, this is one of the hardest things that humans can go through, because your mind is a powerful source that It can either benefit you or destroy your life. There has been research that most of the people that are going through sickness is because of the way they think about themselves. They're stressed out, they're depressed, they go through a area of thinking bad about themselves, and that only leads to a bad direction. Okay? There's one thing that I do, and I tell this on my stories because I'm right now growing an avocado tree, and it's a seed and it's growing. And I tell people, speak positivity to your plant. Talk to your plant. Speak to your plant. I learned this from my mom because when I was with or living with her, she she had a green thumb. Okay, anything she touched would literally grow, and she would tell me that one of the things that you need to do for your plants when you're growing them, you need to talk to them. You need to have a conversation with them, talk to them sweet, give them positivity to them. And I saw this work because not only did I research this to see if it was something that was actually true, and it is because of certain chemicals that are coming out of your mouth, it helps the plant grow. When you speak to a plant negatively, you actually kill the plant. Because, in a sense, there's poison coming out of your mouth. And when you speak positively, there is medicine, in a sense, coming out of your mouth for a plant. Food that a plant can intake. So, I'm speaking positive things to my avocado. Not cliche. I'm speaking it to it. I'm talking to it, telling it, you're going to grow beautiful. You're going to grow strong. You are amazing. And we call our avocado seed right now, I believe is Wakita. We call her Wakita. And and that's our avocado name, Wakita. But she is in a state of growing right now. We have moved her from water into soil, and she's in a state of growing, and it's a transformation because she grew in the water, and now she's growing in soil, which is a different atmosphere. And I actually talk about this in my last podcast, one of my last podcasts, when I'm talking about being born in the water. Go check it out. It's really powerful. So we're talking about what others see. Okay? What others see. Now, everyone is going to see what you give them. You might be at a state or in a place right now, whether you may be going through something that is tough, or you may be at a state right now where you'll be going through something when life is easy and everything seems like it's going right. And in those states, you react very differently because, one, when you are in a bad state, when things are not going right for you, your mindset is at a different point than what it would be if everything was going good. Why is that? Because nothing is going good, and so because nothing is going good, we want to think negatively about our situation. Why am I in this situation? I hate being in this situation. I want to get out of this situation. All these things that we want to do, that we try to do to get out of that situation. And there's one thing that I spoke to a person, and I informed them of this one thing that they could do. And I told them, look, if you go through life wanting to skip and be, in a sense, blind to your situation that you're going on right now, that means that every time you go through something bad, you're going to want to close your eyes and skip that situation and never remember it again. Well, that means that you are taking that piece in your life and you're erasing it, and you are going, like, literally not living in that situation because of what you don't like. And I said, instead of doing what, complaining or, just really being negative of what you're doing, instead of doing that, see what you can learn from the situation, number one. Number two, see what you can enjoy in the situation. Why? Because I want you to live full your life and where you're at right now. Live full right now and where you are right now. Because if you don't, then you are literally in a sense, dead in that situation. And then when you get out of it and you're in a better place, now you're like, I'm alive, I'm living life, everything is good. And you forget about that moment that you were in. And when you go back into that moment, when something else brings that moment back in a different circumstance, you fall back to that same mentality that you were in. And so you are alive, you are dead in your life that you should be living to the fullest. Why does this happen? Because of the way that we think that others see us. We're in a circumstance, we don't like it. Let's say, for example, we're having financial issues. We're so upset because people are going to see that we're working in a place that we don't want to work in. We're not making enough money here. People are going to see that. And we live in a life that is not at all 100% what we think about ourselves, but instead what others think about us. And it ends up harming us even more. It ends up getting us sick, and that is not good for your health. It's not good for your mind. It's not good for your body. It's not good for your spirit. It's not good for anything. Not even for anyone. Because that state of your life, you are thinking negatively, and so you will look at life negatively, anybody negatively. Am I saying live a life of positivity 100%? No. What I am saying is in those moments, live your life to the fullest. Do everything you can. Live your life to the fullest. But it's up to you if you want to let what others see you, or if you want to go into the step of what you see. Because what you think about yourself matters. So this leads me to point number 2. What you see. We talked about number 1, what others see, and number 2, what you see. Why is this so important, what you see? What is actually very important because you are the one who is living your life. No one knows this. No one else. You are. When you wake up in the morning, you wake up in the morning. When you brush your teeth in the morning, you're brushing your teeth. When you're taking a shower, you're taking a shower. When you decide to get dressed, you dress yourself. When you go to work, you're the one driving there. Or if you take the bus or the train or an airplane, whichever it is, or you walk there, you ride your bike, whatever it is, you're the one who is doing it. You're the one who goes with yourself to your house. You're the one who cleans your house. You're the one who fixes your bed. You're the one who sleeps in your bed. You're the one who deals with yourself on a daily basis. So my question to you is, why what other people think about you matter more than what you think about yourself? That's a good question, right? Why would what others think about yourself or about you matter more than what you think about yourself? Why would that matter more? It shouldn't. That's the answer. Why? Because you're the one living your life. No one's living it for you. No one's getting you up in the morning. When we were kids, our parents would do that. They were teaching us about life. They were teaching us how to live, how to take care of ourselves. And they did their best, whether they were good parents or whether they were not good parents. They did their best to literally keep us alive. And they taught what they knew. And at that moment in their circumstances of life, and you're here. You made it. But should a circumstance define you? Should people define you? Should a test define you? No. Because the answer to this is you define who you want to be. A personality test can decipher for the questions that you have and can give you an answer. But ultimately, you get to decide. Am I going to be an extrovert? Am I going to be an introvert? Am I going to talk to people? Or I'm not going to talk to people? The test may give you an introvert answer, and you may be happy with it because you're like, yes, that's what I am, an introvert. I like staying home. I don't like talking to people. I don't like people. Blah blah blah. Right? And then some of you are excited because it tells you you're an extrovert, man. You're outgoing. You go and you're a go-getter, and you do things and blah blah blah, and you're excited, right? But then when it goes to the negative part, you're like, oh no, I don't want to read that, right? And I went to the same thing, but I realized that that doesn't measure who I am. That doesn't define who I am. That may give me a definition, but it doesn't define who I am. It doesn't tell me that's who I am. Because at any moment, you can change who you are. And this is one thing that I believe very, very deeply. Each and every human have the same emotions, same feelings, same thing, same way of thinking. It is up to you to decide what you want to use more. Some people let their circumstances decide that. So, if their circumstances is good, they're going to be in a good mood. If the circumstances are bad, they're not going to be so much in a good mood. And we let our circumstance decide our emotions, our dictate, or our character is going to be doing, and so on and so forth. There was a time that I used to work at a place where a person would literally let coffee decide that they were going to be in a good mood. Because when they woke up in the morning, they were like, don't talk to me, don't speak to me, don't say anything to me because I'm not in a good mood. I will ignore you, I will talk back to you, I will do this, but when I drink my coffee, then you can talk to me because I am well set and I'm awake. And I thought to myself, that's not a way of living. When you decide that a drink is going to decide for you how to feel. When you have the power in your mind to decide how you are going to feel today, how you are going to make your day better, how you are going to think about yourself and then reflect that to what others think about you. There is something that I heard from, I believe he's a spokesperson, and I don't remember his name clearly, but one thing that I took from his message was, if you want to learn how to be more social, practice being social. Meaning, go out, talk to people, and start being social. Start learning, start taking notes, start seeing how, hey, look, I'm talking to this person. How does that person react to what I say? Or how does that person, how do I start a conversation? How can I keep a conversation? How can I be interested in the conversation? And practice, learn, and find different ways that you can do what you want to do. If you want to be exciting, if you want to be interesting in your conversation, then practice being interesting in your conversations. The only way to do something is to practice it, to make yourself better. Like what they say, practice makes perfect, right? Or something like that. My point is, how do you see yourself? And the way that you want to see yourself, become that. Become that. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit on the second step that we're going to go into, the second point. But for right now, I wanted to talk about what you think about yourself matters. Point number one, what others see. Point number two, what you see. All right, guys, so point number two comes in a question. How do we make our thinking matter? Okay, because we talked about what others see in point number one, and we talked about what you see, right? We talked about the importance of it, how it affects your life, and how what others think can, in some way, dictate how you are in character and attitude, and ultimately, what you think about yourself. But we went into point, and point number one, we talked about what you see, how important it was. So the question comes into, how do we make our thinking matter? And this is it right here. Point number one is opinion versus fact. Okay, we talked about the test, right? And we said many of us have taken it, including myself, and the computer tells us, or the software tells us, this is who you are. You are this person. And then we read all about it, and it tells us who we are, the positives, the negatives, and how can we make our life better by doing the positive things that it tells us, right? Well, that comes down to opinion versus fact. Now, you gave the computer answers to the questions that it gave you. And to those questions, it defined who you are and your personality. Now, I like to take this as an opinion. Okay? What other people have to say about yourself is an opinion. Why is it an opinion? Because it's what they think according to what you have fed them. Okay? Now, for them, it may be a fact that you act like this, that you're like this, that you become like this, and that's who you are. In reality, it's not true. Because it's just an opinion that they're giving you according to what you've given them. And this is when I talk about circumstances. Because every time there's a circumstance and you are with someone, for example, either a loved one, either a friend, or either a stranger, they're going to know you by that circumstance. Because they don't know you at all until you react in a way according to what something happens. Okay? So that's their opinion about you. They saw you react in a certain way to a circumstance that now you're defined by it. That is opinion versus fact. Fact is something that you know about yourself because you know you do it. Okay? For example, you know that you like to eat a lot of sweet stuff. That's a fact. You know you like to eat it because you know you like. So the difference between opinions because what people understand through a circumstance versus what you know. So that you know that you are a certain kind of person a certain way. Right? You know that you're allergic, so you're not going to go to a place or eat something that would cause a reaction. You know that about yourself. That is a fact. Okay? We're talking about how do we make our thinking matter. This is the way to measure your thinking. Opinions are things that people think about you because in a certain circumstance. A fact is what actually happens to you that you think about yourself. Okay? Those are the two differences. So how do you make that a thinking? Well, this is how. When you make yourself in a place of opinion and a fact, and you come to both areas, you have to understand this one thing. And that is that both of these situations can be changed. A fact can be changed and an opinion can be changed. Again, situations, problems, circumstances do not define you. You define who you are. Okay, and we're going to get into a little bit on the act because I don't want you to think, okay, so if I say and I think of myself that I don't have a certain, stuff, then I'm not going to have it. This is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, I'm going to answer to you in my point number 3, and how do we make our thinking matter? So now that we describe these two opinions and two facts, and we know what they are now, we're going to go into point number 2, which is decide who you want to be. Okay, so now that you know your opinion, now you know your fact, now you have two things in your hands. Two things. And now you get to decide who you want to be. And that is the most amazing thing in our life that you can establish in your life as an attitude, and you can hold it upon yourself as that's who I am. I am a person of character. I am a person who is honest. I'm a person who does everything on time. I am not a procrastinator. I am a person who is organized. These are the things that you should talk about yourself, because I hear people a lot when they talk about procrastination, they're like, oh, I am the king of procrastination. Or, I am the person who has like a master's degree on procrastination. And they're literally claiming that upon their lives. And the thing is that you're speaking that into your life, and in a sense, you're going to start doing it. In a sense, you're going to start acting it, and it's going to come true. You're going to start being a procrastinator. You're going to start doing things here, there, and procrastinating on little stuff until you come to a state that you're fully procrastinating on everything. Because you spoke it into your life, you acted upon it, and it became. So, decide who you want to be. I want to be a person of organization. I want to be a person who is on time. I want to be a person that people can rely on. I want to be a person that does what he says or she says and completes it to the end. Well, then that is the part that you decide, because you have to make a choice. Decide what you want to be between your opinions and facts, right? Fact is something that you know. Opinion is something that people see. Okay? So decide from what you know and what people see what you want to be. That is very key to how do we make our thinking matter. Because you're starting to give yourself a voice. And that voice is the voice that is going to guide you and lead you throughout your life. Because sometimes we let other voices control our mind, control who we are. Because we go to a seminar, we were motivated, we were, pumped up that someone said something about us, or someone, said an amazing message, and we take that with us, and we're like, yeah, we live it. And then when we start living that message, it didn't apply to us, but we still applied it. And now we're like, whoa, I'm in a situation that I didn't need to be. Why am I here? When you applied something that you didn't need to apply in your life. Again, opinion versus fact. And then you decide what you want to be. So if you decide that you want to be something, you're going to apply it to your life and know that everything has a consequence, whether a consequence that is good, a consequence that is bad. You're accepting that in your life because you're moving forward. Now, I'm going to go into point number 3, which is act on the decision. Okay? Now, once you decided between your opinion and facts what you want to be, now it's time to act upon it. Right? You heard something. You want to be something. Now it's time to act upon it. Again, one of the things that I said before is, if you're going to think about that you want to be a person of organization, that means that you have to apply that into action. So, how do you do it? You start learning how to be an organized person. You start having your area clean, organized, anywhere you go. Because that's what you want. 1, you to believe about yourself. That's the attitude you want to have. And 2, it's what you want others to see in you. Now, these are things that you do first in the inside so that in the outside it is shown. Because if you try to show it on the outside, but on the inside, people will see it very clearly of what's going on. Because I've seen people and I've talked to people when because I talk to them and say, for example, I say, are you an organized person? And they're like, oh, I'm so organized. I am an organized person. Everything is organized. And like, okay. And then days later and months later, I see them and they're disorganized, not on time, not doing what they're supposed to, and they're doing their own thing. And that's fine if they want to do their own thing. But what they said is not what I saw. Again, opinion versus fact, right? What others people see or what do you see? It wasn't a fact for me. Because they told me, came out of their mouth, that they were a certain way, and then it didn't come through as them being that. So now I was seeing them as a person who doesn't tell the truth, a person who doesn't follow what they say, and then a person who literally just does whatever they want. Why? Because that's what I said. And that's why it's the difference between showing it on the outer appearance than first going in the inner appearance, and then it's going to show in the outer appearance. Why? Because you have to make it real inside you before it's real outside. Does that make sense? You got to know in yourself that you are organized. You in your own home have to be organized. In the places that people don't see you, you have to be organized. And then when you go out into other places, because you are organized inside your own home, when you go into other areas, now you are organized. The second thing you can do is hang around people who are organized. And you're going to start seeing if you like that organization or you don't, because there's different types of organizations, right? So not organization, but organizing of either your life, your schedule, whatever it is, your house, your home. And you start hanging out with these people that do it, and then you decide, you know what, do I like this organization? Do I like the way this person organized themselves? Does this reflect my organization? And if it does, then by all means, hang out with that person. And if it doesn't, then stay away from that person. Why? Because bad character corrupts good character. Okay? Again, bad character corrupts good character. So when you are applying this in your life, what you're saying, what you're believing in yourself that you believe you are, because what you think about yourself matters, then you start acting on them. Then you start revealing them. Unconsciously, you start revealing them because you start cleaning after yourself wherever you're at. You start organizing after yourself wherever you're at. Why? Because you did it first when no one saw you, and now when you're out there, people are seeing it. That is the beautiful thing. And again, hitting the point when you're trying to do it from the outer appearance just so people can see you is very obvious. Because people start seeing that, oh man, this guy's clean, and they go visit you, and it's like, wow. What happened, right? I thought this person was super organized, and it turns out that they're not. That happens in every circumstance, not just an organization. I'm just giving you an example of what you could do when you take action on the decision. Now, I want to leave you with this quote. And it says, what you make of yourself is ultimately up to you. What others think about you is merely based off a circumstance and your reaction to it. Okay? Let me say that to you one more time again because it was pretty long. So here it is. What you make of yourself is ultimately up to you. What others think about you is merely based off a circumstance and your reaction to it. That is powerful. That is powerful. And I want to leave you with that. I want you to think about that. I want you to really take in deep what that means. Okay? What you make of yourself is ultimately up to you. What others think about you is merely based off a circumstance and your reaction to it. So guys, I leave you with that quote because it's something that's going to change your life, and it's going to give you a new perspective on the way you see stuff and on what you think about yourself, because it matters. Alright everyone, thank you so much for being with us today. Today we talked about mindset. It was such a powerful time today in our podcast talking about mindset. Oh man, it was just so amazing. I hope that you take this with you wherever you go, because it's going to help you tremendously. It's going to give you a relief. It's going to make you feel like you just, got your air back and you're on your feet on the ground, and now you can move forward in your life. Again, we do this so that we can be motivated, we can be inspired, and we can be ultimately better humans in our world. And that's why Make Limited really focuses on just giving this type of messages and being able to talk to you through areas like the podcast. And talking about podcasts and places to talk to you about, we have our website live on MakeLimitedPodcast.com. You can go and check us out there. Also, another great news is that we are on Amazon Music and Audible. You can check us out now there. We are available, and we're available on other platforms as well that you listen to us on podcasts. And it's so amazing to have you listen to us from across the world. We are excited and motivated that more people are listening to us, and now that we are able to go on Amazon Music and Audible, it is at just a different level. So we're going up, we're going higher. So stay tuned, go to our website, sign up for our newsletter so you can get the future things that Make Lemonade is doing and where we are heading. So guys, thank you so much for being here, and we will talk to you on the next podcast. Peace.